At my father's $980 million estate hearing, I listened through the courtroom doors as my own brother stood before lawyers and family members and calmly announced that I was dead. Not missing. Not estranged. He presented a death certificate with my name on it, described a tragic boating accident overseas, and positioned himself as the sole surviving heir. What he didn't know was that I was standing 15 feet away, very much alive, listening as he erased my entire existence with a single lie. For 3 years, I had trusted him. After leaving our family company following a bitter fight with our father, I had built a quiet life away from the empire. My brother Adrian stayed behind, playing the role of dutiful son. But behind closed doors, he had been isolating our aging father, controlling his medical care, and planting the story that I had abandoned the family forever. When our father died suddenly under circumstances that didn't add up, Adrian moved fast. Too fast. The inheritance hearing was supposed to seal everything. He was counting on my absence. What he didn't anticipate was that I had been investigating him for months. Strange money transfers. A suspicious life insurance update. A digital death certificate registered in a database halfway around the world. I had stayed silent, letting him feel safe, until the exact moment he made his final move. When I pushed those courtroom doors open and walked down the aisle, the room didn't just go quiet. It exploded. But that was only the beginning. Because proving I was alive wasn't enough. I had to prove what he did. And the deeper I dug, the darker it became. Forged medical documents. Bribed witnesses. A hidden clause in my father's will that changed everything. This wasn't just about money. It was about betrayal, stolen identity, and reclaiming my name from someone who thought he could bury me. My brother believed he had won. He had no idea I was about to dismantle everything he built on a lie. But before I tell you how it all came crashing down, let me take you back to the moment I realized my own family had declared war on my existence. The courtroom doors are closed when I hear Adrian's voice through the speaker system mounted in the hallway. Unfortunately, my sister passed away last year. Here is the death certificate. Papers shuffle. Someone gasps softly. My vision blurs at the edges. He sounds calm. Practiced. Even a little sad, like he's been rehearsing this moment in front of a mirror. She died overseas, he continues. There was nothing we could do. My hands shake so badly I almost dropped the folder I'm clutching. Inside are bank statements, email threads, and a timeline that proves everything he's saying is a lie. He just declared me dead. To inherit $980 million. The attorney's voice comes through next, crisp and professional. And there are no other surviving siblings? My brother answers without a single pause. No. I'm the only one left. That's when I stop shaking. I push the doors open with both hands. I'm right here. The silence that follows feels like the air has been sucked out of the entire building. My name is Alessandra Vale. And today, my brother tried to bury me alive. The judge stares directly at me, her expression unreadable. Then she speaks. Then who signed this death certificate? Everyone in the courtroom stands at once. My brother's face drains of every drop of color, but only for half a second. Then he recovers, smoothing his expression into something that almost looks like shock. Alessandra, he whispers, loud enough for the microphone to catch. This isn't funny. Funny. I walk down the center aisle slowly. My heels click against the polished floor, echoing in the stunned silence. I stop 10 feet from him and meet his eyes. Tell them how I drowned, Adrian. He swallows hard. The judge clears her throat and announces that the inheritance hearing is postponed pending a full investigation into the circumstances. She orders both of us to remain available for questioning. As people begin filing out, whispering to each other and staring at me like I'm a ghost, my brother grabs my arm. His grip is hard enough to bruise. You should have stayed gone, he hisses under his breath. That's when I realize something that chills me to the bone. This wasn't a desperate mistake. It was a carefully planned execution. I lean in close and tell him quietly, I know about the Cayman account. His grip tightens until my skin burns. Let me back up and give you the full picture. My name is Alessandra Vale. I'm 34 years old. 3 years ago, I was the chief operating officer of Vale Global Holdings, a company my grandfather built from nothing and my father expanded into an empire worth nearly $1 billion. Then my father and I had a fight. It wasn't about money or power. It was about ethics. He wanted to cut corners on a construction project that would put workers at risk. I refused to sign off on it. He told me I was being naive. I told him I wouldn't be part of something that could get people killed. So I walked away. I left the company, left the estate, and started over. I thought it was temporary. I thought we'd eventually fix things. My brother Adrian stayed behind. He became the obedient son, the one who never questioned anything, the one who showed up to every board meeting with a smile. After I left, my communication with our father became difficult. Phone calls went unanswered. Visits were postponed indefinitely. Medical decisions were suddenly being handled exclusively by Adrian. I thought it was just my father's pride. Stubbornness. The same trait that made him successful in business. I didn't realize it was isolation. I didn't realize my brother was cutting me off deliberately, piece by piece. Then, 6 months before our father died, I received an email from him. Just 3 words and an attachment. Something isn't right. Now, standing in front of the judge, I present that email as evidence. The timestamp shows it was sent 2 weeks before my father's sudden stroke, the one that killed him. Attached to the email is a partially written document labeled, Revised Will. Adrian's lawyer immediately objects, claiming the email is fabricated. His voice is sharp, confident. But I'm ready. I hand over a report from a digital forensics expert. The metadata proves the document was created on my father's private laptop, the one only he had access to. The one Adrian claimed was wiped clean after his death. The courtroom fills with whispers. I glance at Adrian. He doesn't look shocked anymore. He looks annoyed, like I'm a minor inconvenience he didn't account for. That expression scares me more than anything else. The judge adjusts her glasses and makes a note on her pad. I'm ordering a full forensic analysis of your father's medical records, she announces. This hearing will resume once we have clarity on the circumstances of his death. Adrian leans back in his chair. He doesn't look worried. He looks like someone who's already 10 steps ahead. And that's when I realize I need to dig deeper. Faster. Because whatever he's hiding, it's bigger than I thought. I start with the last time I saw my father alive. It was 8 months ago. I drove 3 hours to the estate after weeks of trying to reach him. When I finally got there, he was sitting in his study, staring blankly at the wall. He looked sedated. I asked Adrian what was going on. He said it was necessary medication, prescribed by the doctor to manage our father's anxiety and confusion. But when I tried to ask the nurse on duty, she avoided eye contact. She mumbled something about privacy laws and left the room. I didn't push it. I thought maybe I was overreacting. Now, I subpoena the hospital records. It takes 2 weeks, but when the files arrive, one detail jumps out immediately. A medication was administered to my father regularly over the last 6 months of his life. A drug known to accelerate cognitive decline in elderly patients. And every single dosage was signed off by the same person, Adrian. My hands tremble as I read through page after page of authorization forms. This wasn't treatment. This was sabotage. I search for the nurse who was on duty that day, the one who wouldn't meet my eyes. Her name is Clara Mendez. When I finally track her down, I discover she resigned from the hospital 2 weeks after my father's death. No explanation. No forwarding information. Just gone. I find Clara living in a small apartment across the state. When I knock on her door, she opens it just a crack, the chain still latched. I don't want any trouble, she says immediately. I'm not here to cause trouble, I tell her. I just need the truth. She hesitates, then lets me in. Her apartment is neat but sparse. She offers me water, but her hands shake as she pours it. Your brother pressured me, she finally admits. He said your father was confused, dangerous to himself. He convinced me that the medication was necessary. I feel my chest tighten. What else did he make you do? She looks down at her hands. He made your father sign documents when he wasn't fully conscious. Legal papers. I didn't know what they were, But your father wasn't in any condition to understand what he was signing. What documents? I press. She shakes her head. I don't know. But I got scared. So I left. Then she says something that makes my blood run cold. He paid me to keep quiet. I pull up her recent bank records. I already did the research before coming here. There's a deposit. $500,000. From a shell company I've traced back to Adrian. Clara starts crying. I'm sorry, she whispers. I needed the money. I have a daughter in college. I leave her apartment with more questions than answers. But now I have a witness. The next discovery hits me like a freight train. My father updated his life insurance policy 3 months before he died. The payout is massive. $20 million. And the beneficiary? Adrian. But buried in the fine print is a clause I almost miss. If fraud or coercion is proven in relation to the policyholder's death, the entire estate defaults to the previously named heir. I sit in my lawyer's office, reading the clause over and over. This changes everything, my lawyer says. She's a sharp woman named Victoria Cross, someone I trust completely. If we can prove Adrian coerced our father, manipulated his medical care, or falsified documents, the entire estate comes to me. Not just the insurance. Everything. Adrian doesn't know this clause exists, which means he thought he had removed me completely from the equation by faking my death. I look at Victoria. I'm filing a formal fraud investigation. Today. She nods and starts drafting the paperwork. For the first time since this nightmare started, I see genuine fear flicker across Adrian's face when he's served with the notice 3 days later. He's starting to realize I'm not going away. And I'm not playing defense anymore. Adrian doesn't take this quietly. Within a week, he launches a full-scale public attack on my character. News articles start appearing online. Sources close to the family claim I disappeared years ago due to mental instability. Old photographs of me at a wellness retreat are twisted into evidence of rehab for addiction. Shareholders begin questioning my credibility. Former colleagues distance themselves. My reputation, the one I spent a decade building, starts crumbling in real time. I realize what he's doing. He didn't just try to erase me legally. He's trying to erase me socially, professionally, completely. If people believe I'm unstable, they'll believe the death certificate was filed in good faith. They'll believe Adrian was acting in the company's best interest. Then I notice something in my passport records. There's an exit stamp. The date matches the one on my falsified death certificate. According to official records, I left the country on the exact day I supposedly died in that boating accident. But I never left. I was in the country the entire time. Someone used my identity to create a false travel record. That level of fraud requires access to government databases. Only someone with serious resources and connections could pull that off. And Adrian has both. I make a call to a private investigator I trust. I need to know who accessed my passport records. I tell him. That's going to be difficult, he warns. I don't care. Find out. The answer comes faster than I expected. Someone inside Vale Global's technology division accessed secure biometric databases and replicated my digital signature, my fingerprint scans, and even my retinal data. That information was used to create the false death certificate and the fake travel records. Only someone with executive-level clearance could authorize that kind of access. And that division reports directly to Adrian. I sit in my apartment, staring at the report, trying to process the scope of what he's done. This isn't just fraud. This is identity theft on a massive, coordinated scale. My phone rings. It's an unknown number. I answer cautiously. Miss Vale? The voice is young, male, nervous. Who is this? My name is Kyle Brennan. I work in IT at Vale Global. I need to meet with you. Privately. My pulse quickens. Why? Because I know what your brother did. And I have proof. We agree to meet at a coffee shop across town in 2 hours. I arrive early, scanning every face, every exit. Kyle shows up exactly on time. He's in his mid-20s, wearing a hoodie, looking over his shoulder every few seconds. He slides a flash drive across the table. Everything's on here, he says quietly. I'm sorry. I didn't know what it was for until it was too late. I take the drive. What's on it? Audio recordings. Your brother ordered me to replicate legacy biometric data. He said it was for security upgrades. I didn't ask questions. I just did it. He pauses. Then I saw the news about your death. And I realized what I helped him do. I gripped the flash drive like it's a lifeline. Thank you. Kyle nods and leaves quickly. That night, I listened to the recordings. Adrian's voice is clear. Once she's legally dead, everything consolidates. No complications. No disputes. I have him. But the next morning, Kyle Brennan disappears. I go to Kyle's apartment. The door is unlocked. Inside, everything is gone. Furniture, clothes, personal items. It's completely empty, like no one ever lived there. His phone is disconnected. His email bounces back. I call Victoria immediately. Someone's cleaning up, she says grimly. This is bigger than inheritance fraud, Alessandra. Someone is eliminating witnesses. That night, I'm driving home when my brakes fail. I slam my foot down. Nothing happens. I'm going 50 miles an hour down a hill. I yank the emergency brake and swerve onto a side street, scraping against a guardrail before finally coming to a stop. My hands are shaking so hard I can barely hold the steering wheel. I call the police. They inspect my car and find that the brake line was cleanly cut. Not worn. Not damaged. Cut. This isn't about money anymore. This is about survival. The next day, I review security footage from my apartment building's garage. Someone accessed it using a company clearance card. The timestamp shows they were there the night before my brakes failed. I freeze the image. The clearance card belongs to Vale Global Holdings. Adrian's company. The forensic team working on my father's will make a breakthrough. They recover the deleted, revised will that my father started writing before he died. I sit in Victoria's office as she reads it aloud. If my children turn against each other, the estate shall go to neither of them. My breath catches. She continues. Instead, the entirety of the estate will be transferred into a charitable foundation dedicated to medical ethics and worker safety. I stare at the document. Neither of us would inherit. Not me. Not Adrian. If my father's wishes were honored, everything would go to charity. Adrian didn't know this clause existed. Which means when he faked my death, he thought he was securing the entire fortune for himself. But there's a problem. Victoria points to the bottom of the page. The foundation paperwork was never finalized. It required 2 signatures. Your father's and yours. I look at the blank signature line next to my name. So it's not legally binding? Not yet, Victoria says carefully. But it shows clear intent. If we can prove your father wanted this, it changes everything. I lean back in my chair, my mind racing. My father wanted to protect his legacy from exactly this kind of fight. He knew we might destroy each other over money. So he tried to take it off the table completely. But he died before finishing it. And now I have to decide what to do with that knowledge. I visit my father's grave for the first time since the funeral. It's a cold morning. The cemetery is empty except for me. I stand in front of the headstone and feel everything I've been holding back crash over me. I'm not crying over the money. I'm crying because my own brother tried to erase me. Because the man who raised me died alone, manipulated and confused. Because I spent 3 years away, thinking I was doing the right thing, and it gave Adrian the opening he needed. I kneel down and touch the cold stone. I'm going to fix this, I whisper. Not for me. For you. That's when I realize something. I've been fighting for revenge. But that's not what my father would have wanted. He would have wanted the truth. I stand up, wipe my eyes, and pull out my phone. I make a decision. I'm not going to destroy Adrian just to take everything for myself. I'm going to honor what my father actually wanted. Even if it means I walk away with nothing. My phone rings. It's Clara, the nurse. Her voice is shaking. I want to confess publicly. I want to tell the truth about what he made me do. I close my eyes and nod. Let's do it. The courtroom is packed when Clara takes the stand. Reporters line the back wall. Cameras aren't allowed inside, but I know they're waiting outside like vultures. Clara's voice trembles as she begins. Adrian Vale pressured me to administer medication that I knew would harm his father. He told me it was necessary, that his father was a danger to himself. But I knew it wasn't true. The room is completely silent. She continues. He also made me witness documents when his father wasn't fully conscious. Legal papers. I don't know what they were, but I knew it was wrong. Adrian's lawyer jumps to his feet, objecting loudly. But the judge overrules him. Clara keeps talking. He paid me $500,000 to stay quiet. I took it because I was scared. Because I needed it. But I can't live with it anymore. When she finishes, Adrian is on his feet, his face red. She's lying, he shouts. This is a coordinated attack. The judge slams her gavel. Mr. Vale, sit down. For the first time, Adrian loses his composure completely. His hands shake. His voice cracks. Then Victoria stands. Your Honor, we have one more witness. The courtroom doors open. Kyle Brennan walks in, flanked by 2 federal agents. He's alive. He's under protective custody. And he's ready to talk. Kyle takes the stand. He explains everything. How Adrian ordered him to replicate my biometric data. How he was told it was for security purposes. How he only realized what it was really for when he saw the news about my supposed death. Then Victoria plays the audio recording. Adrian's voice fills the courtroom. Once she's legally dead, everything consolidates. No complications. No disputes. The silence that follows is deafening. I don't look at Adrian. I don't need to. I can feel his hatred radiating from across the room. But then he does something I don't expect. He smirks. It's small, barely noticeable, but it's there. Like he still has one last card to play. Victoria sees it too. She tenses. Adrian's lawyer stands and approaches the bench. Your Honor, we'd like to submit new evidence. He hands over a document. The judge reviews it, her expression unreadable. Then she looks at me. Miss Vale, did you sign a formal renunciation of your inheritance rights 3 years ago? My stomach drops. No. Adrian's lawyer slides the document across to me. It's dated 3 years ago, right after I left the company. And at the bottom is my signature. Perfect. Unmistakable. My signature. I stare at the document, my heart pounding. It looks real. The paper is aged correctly. The notary stamp looks legitimate. And that signature. It's mine. Was. I take a breath and look up at the judge. Your Honor, I did not sign this document. Adrian's lawyer scoffs. The handwriting analysis will prove otherwise. But I'm already reaching into my bag. I pull out a folder and hand it to Victoria. 2 years ago, I say clearly, I changed my signature style after a security breach at my personal bank. I was advised to alter it slightly to prevent fraud. I show the judge a side-by-side comparison. The signature on the renunciation document uses my old style. The loop on the A is wider. The tail on the last letter curves differently. Every document I've signed in the past 2 years uses the new version. The judge examines both closely. Then she calls for a handwriting expert. It takes 3 days. When the results come back, the expert's testimony is definitive. The signature on the renunciation document matches Miss Vale's pre-2022 style exactly. However, the paper and ink have been artificially aged. This document was created recently and backdated. The courtroom erupts. Adrian's lawyer tries to argue, but it's over. The document is a forgery. And now there's no question. Adrian didn't just try to steal the inheritance. He tried to erase me completely. Within hours, authorities freeze all of Adrian's personal accounts. The company's stock price starts to wobble as news spreads. Board members begin distancing themselves publicly, releasing statements about their commitment to ethical leadership. Adrian's allies vanish overnight. He tries to reach out to me privately through his lawyer. He offers me half of everything. A settlement. Quiet. I tell Victoria to decline. This isn't about the money, I say. She smiles. I know. 2 days later, criminal charges are filed. Coercion. Attempted insurance manipulation. identity falsification, and conspiracy to commit murder based on the evidence of my cut break lines. When the news breaks, I'm sitting in my apartment, watching it unfold on television. Adrian's face is on every channel. The golden sun. The heir apparent. Now in handcuffs. My phone rings constantly. Reporters. Old colleagues. People I haven't spoken to in years. I ignore all of it. Instead, I sit quietly and think about my father. About the man he was before the money corrupted everything. And I make a decision about what comes next. The day of Adrian's arrest, cameras swarm the courthouse steps. I'm not there. I watch it from my lawyer's office, on a television mounted in the corner. Adrian is led out in handcuffs, his expensive suit wrinkled, his face blank. Reporters shout questions at him. He doesn't answer. But as he's being escorted into the police car, he turns. He looks directly at the camera. And he stares like he's looking right at me. His lips move, but there's no sound. I know what he's saying. You could have just stayed gone. I turn off the television. Victoria looks at me. The trial starts in 6 weeks. Are you ready? I nod. I'm ready. But the truth is, I don't know if I'll ever be ready to face my brother across a courtroom and hear him try to justify what he did. Still, I don't have a choice. This has to end. Not with revenge. With truth. The trial lasts 3 weeks. Every day, I sit in the courtroom and listen to the evidence pile up. Clara's testimony about the medication. Kyle's testimony about the forged biometric data. The forensic accountant who traces the shell company payments. The handwriting expert who confirms the forged renunciation. The mechanic who testifies that my brake line was deliberately cut. It's overwhelming. Adrian's defense tries to paint me as a bitter, estranged daughter who abandoned her family and is now fabricating a conspiracy. But the evidence is too strong. On the final day, Adrian takes the stand. His lawyer advises against it, but he insists. He sits in the witness box, calm and composed, and tells his story. I did what I did, he says slowly, because she abandoned us. He looks directly at me. She walked away. Left our father alone. Left me to handle everything. And when he got sick, when he needed family, where was she? For a moment, the courtroom is silent. For a moment I feel doubt creep in. Did I abandon them? Then Victoria stands. Your Honor, we have one final piece of evidence. She plays a video. It's an email from my father, recorded as a video message 6 months before he died. His face fills the screen, tired and confused. Alessandra, he says softly, if you're seeing this, it means I didn't protect you enough. I'm sorry. The courtroom goes completely silent. Even Adrian looks shaken. The judge delivers her ruling 2 days later. The evidence of fraud, coercion, and identity falsification is overwhelming and undeniable. The inheritance claim is invalidated. All assets are frozen pending final distribution. Adrian shows no emotion, but I see his hands trembling slightly. The judge continues. However, the matter of final asset distribution remains unresolved due to the incomplete nature of the decedent's revised will. She looks at me. Miss Vale, as the legitimate heir, you have the right to claim the estate in full. Or you may choose to honor your father's expressed wishes regarding the charitable foundation. The room waits. Everyone is staring at me. I stand slowly. Your Honor, I request that the court enforce the charitable clause. Gasps ripple through the room. I don't want the money, I continue. I want my father's legacy to mean something. I want the foundation he envisioned to be built in his name. The judge nods slowly. That is a significant decision, Miss Vale. I know. Adrian stares at me like I've lost my mind. Because in his world, no one walks away from $1 billion. But I'm not walking away. I'm walking toward something better. The judge approves the foundation. The entire estate, all $980 million, will be used to create the Vale Medical Ethics and Worker Safety Foundation. Adrian inherits nothing. I inherit nothing. But my father's name will be attached to something good. Something that might actually save lives. Adrian is sentenced 3 weeks later. 12 years in federal prison. All assets seized. Public disgrace complete. As he's being led out of the courtroom for the last time, he stops. He looks at me. And for the first time, I don't see hatred. I see something broken. I just didn't want to be second, he says quietly. Then he's gone. I sit in the empty courtroom for a long time after everyone leaves. I think about my father. About Adrian. About all the years we spent competing for something that was never real. And I realize something. I don't hate my brother. I pity him. Because he destroyed his entire life chasing something that would never make him happy. And I almost did the same thing. 6 months later, I'm standing in a conference room overlooking the city. The Vale Foundation is officially operational. We've hired a team of doctors, ethicists, and safety engineers. We've funded 3 major research projects. We've launched a whistleblower protection program for healthcare workers. Everything my father would have wanted. I'm the chair of the board, but I don't take a salary. I live simply in the same apartment I've had for 3 years. I don't need the money. I need the purpose. One afternoon, I receive a letter. It's from Adrian. I almost don't open it. But curiosity wins. Inside, the handwriting is shaky. I tried to erase you. You built something bigger. I read it 3 times. Then I fold it carefully and put it in a drawer. I don't respond. There's nothing left to say. People ask me all the time if I regret it. Giving up nearly $1 billion. Walking away from the empire my family built. And the truth is, I don't. Because I learned something through all of this. Money doesn't define you. What you do with it does. Adrian had every opportunity to be great. Instead, he became a criminal. I had every opportunity to be vengeful. Instead, I chose to build something that mattered. My father spent his whole life chasing wealth. And in the end, it destroyed our family. But now, his name is attached to something that's actually helping people. That's worth more than any inheritance. I visit his grave once a month. I tell him about the foundation, about the lives we've saved, about the policies we've changed. And I like to think he's proud. Not of the money, but of what I chose to do with the choice I was given. I still think about Adrian sometimes. Mostly late at night, when the city is quiet and I'm alone with my thoughts. I wonder if he understands what he lost. Not the money, but the chance to be someone worth remembering. He'll be out of prison eventually. And when he is, I don't know what happens next. Maybe he'll try to rebuild. Maybe he'll disappear. Maybe he'll try to reach out. I don't know if I'll answer. But I do know this. I'm not afraid of him anymore. He declared me dead for $980 million. And instead, I became more alive than I've ever been. I reclaimed my name. I honored my father. And I built something that will outlast all of us. That's not revenge. That's justice. Last week, I spoke at a conference about corporate ethics. Hundreds of people in the audience. Business leaders. Lawyers. Students. I told them my story. Not for sympathy. But as a warning. Greed, I said, doesn't just destroy your bank account. It destroys your soul. After the speech, a young woman approached me. She told me her family was fighting over an inheritance. She asked me what she should do. I told her the truth. Ask yourself what you want to be remembered for. Then choose that no matter what it costs. She thanked me and walked away. I hope she listened. Because the world doesn't need more people like Adrian. It needs more people willing to walk away from what's easy and choose what's right. That's the legacy I want to leave. Not money. Not power. Just the courage to choose integrity when everything is on the line. Today, I'm sitting in my office at the foundation headquarters. Sunlight streams through the windows. On my desk is a photo of my father, taken before everything fell apart. He's smiling. I like to think that wherever he is, he's smiling now too. Because his life's work didn't end in greed and betrayal. It ended in something meaningful. I open my laptop and review the latest project proposals. A hospital safety initiative. A research grant for ethical AI in medicine. A scholarship program for nurses from underserved communities. This is what $1 billion should do. Not sit in a vault. Not fund yachts and mansions. But change lives. My phone buzzes. It's a message from Victoria. Proud of you. I smile. Adrian tried to bury me. He faked my death, stole my identity, and nearly destroyed everything I was. But I survived. And not just survived. I became someone my father would be proud of. Someone I'm proud of. My brother declared me dead for $980 million. Instead, I came back to life. And this time, no one will ever write me out of my own story again.